Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by lineups.com. Nate and Josh coming to you guys on Friday here with the NBA Cup action. Got 8 games that we're looking at. Going to be bringing all of our best bets and player props to you in this episode here. Looks at some sides and totals as well as those player props. So definitely make sure to subscribe to the channel. Continue to follow along each and every weekday with us this season. Let's get right into it, Nate. We got funky courts. We got the Raptors. We got the Hawks. Let's talk a little Hawks here.
We got throwback PNGs up there for the Raptors. I always take an opportunity to put the 90s logos, which were just always superior to what we got in modern day. But we talked in the futures about fading the Raptors like long term because their last 3 wins have just come with these extreme rest advantages, all sorts of advantages like Bucks off an emotional win, sad Memphis, Josh suspended, Cavs in the cup that they apparently really don't care about. And now they get a Hawks team that's surging because there's no Trae Young. So it's a great opportunity to fade the Raptors, to fade Trae Young's importance to this team, and take the Hawks, who really, I mean, it's about fixing their defense since they got this team in the opener, right? That was just like the whoa eye opener. Like this Hawks team is not what we thought they were. They are terrible. They allowed 86 paint points in the opener, and now they get a chance to clap back. And we just saw that with what they lost to Orlando in game 2, clap back, beat them by 25. I let you talk me off Atlanta, taking them as a home dog in that one. I'm not making the same mistake here because now their defense is amazing without Trae Young, which is not a huge surprise. They're 39 paint points in the last 3. That's third best. Their 5th best defensive efficiency. Toronto's up there too, but like I said, very skewed schedule. They've won 4 of their last 5 without Trae. And the loss was basically just shooting an abysmal percentage from 3 against Cleveland. I mean, Toronto, the biggest deal here is the massive free throw discrepancy that Atlanta's getting the line. They're limiting. And Toronto is a terrible team limiting free throw attempts right now. Their massive wings are just mismatched on that end. And they're just probably not going to have as much success now against the combination of Dyson, Jalen, even Reese Hache on the defensive end. I think the Hawks will be able to get it done on the defensive end.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add to that. I don't know what to do with Toronto, but Atlanta's a much better defensive team without Trae Young on the floor, mostly because who's coming in is also good on defense. So they're going to be fine. They've got plenty of ball handlers. I do like the -2. I also like -10 for the Denver Nuggets here, the Bugs, because this is going to be an undermanned Golden State team. Steph is out with an illness now, just straight illness, and Jimmy's questionable. They both missed the last game. They lost to the Kings. Draymond also missed that game. Draymond's probable for tonight. But I just think we're looking at, like, you're going to see these two teams match up in the starting lineup, and there's not going to be any Steph and potentially not any Jimmy. And if there's no Jimmy, then it's going to look these two teams are going to look very mismatched. You're going to look at one team that's like full of champions, and then you're going to look at another team that's just the bench for this squad, and a mismatch of guys who don't necessarily make sense together when you don't have Steph Curry on the floor. And Steph has not had to do that much this year. But if ever there was a year to look at Steph's impact and go, oh, well, he's helping them be good without having to shoot the ball a million times. And he knows when to shoot. But right, you put guys like Pods, Moses Moody, you're going to have some Buddy Hield out there. You're going to try to like make up for Steph Curry's shooting, but you're not going to touch the impact that he has on the game on offense. And this Denver team, I think they're going to win the chip, man. Like, go ahead and book that, right? Because it's I believe we're at the 4-minute mark of this video, and I think we should hold on to that for later. Because when this team is a top 5 defensive team, last time they did that, or in top 10, they won the championship. They went off a cliff, right? I'm not going to directly tie it to Bruce Brown, but I mean, Michael Porter Jr. has been out there a lot in the last few years, and now it's Cam Johnson and Bruce Brown, and they fit into this team so well, just like a complete glove. They just mesh right in. We already knew that about Bruce Brown. I think we talked about Cam J being a nice improvement for how he fits into the Nuggets. If you took Cam J and Michael Porter Jr. and said, go play one-on-one, probably going to take MPJ most of the time. But if you say, I'm playing 5-on-5, I'm going to say, give me Cam J every time. So that's how come I think their defense is a huge part of this. Their transition defense, their ability to limit assists, and their ability to stop spot-up shooting. Still not great against spot-ups, but everything else, they are now top 5. That's what you need. This is a complete team with Joe Val off the bench. This is going to be a drubbing and a revenge game for losing that opening game of the season this year.
Yeah, I can see all that. I don't know if Jimmy doesn't play, then it's like wave the white flag, right? I mean, the Dubs, they're coming off a competitive game against the Kings, with Moody shooting the lights out, with the team shooting the lights out. Now it's the number one 3-point defense on deck, right? I mean, yeah, they not the best against spot ups, but overall, like Denver's like what 31% they're allowing. And this Warriors shell team just gave up a triple double to Westbrook. I mean, this lost without Sabonis, without Levine, lost to that Kings unit, and now you get the Nuggets at home, absolute wagon, like their team total as well, rather than taking an over for this. I mean, at home they're an automatic 120, right? I'm taking my second pick here. Is the Heat to be scoring here? They're -4, 4.5, and would love it if Bam was playing. We know Bam's not in tonight. So it's a little scary to take them for the win on top of this, but I just think other guys are going to fill the void. I mean, and we're talking about a team total of 123.5 against the Charlotte Hornets, who are high key bad on defense. I mean, the Heat just played that number one 3-point defense, by the way, in the Nuggets, and they took a lot of bad shots. They could not hit a lot of threes. Now they play a team that gives up the second most threes at 42% on the road, and just allows a ton of assisted field goals, which is why I lean towards these two guys who are going to do their work off passes. Like Ware has a 93% field goal made off the assist. He does not get his own shot. Jaquez will score in transition, semi-transition off the fast break. He's second in paint points against a Charlotte team that gets out of sorts. They have one rim protector in Kalkbrenner, but he's going to have to be drawn out on the perimeter against Ware, right? If that's the matchup. Jaquez had 28 points in 28 minutes, against Charlotte, and was a plus 43 last time these teams met. And that was when Charlotte was actually playing well and had more guys out there. It was hot. I mean, the only duds for Jaquez are the Spurs and the Clips when the Heat were on a back-to-back. So I think he's the more reliable part of this leg here. And the juice is better as far as just like Jaquez 12 points on its own is a fine bet here. But you got Norman Powell you could add to this. You could just go with the Ware rebounds. There's lots of ways to pivot to just say like these Heat boys are going to get their stats tonight.
Yeah, you're suffering from the sort of like the disease of more in a way, because it's like we're playing the Hornets, so it's like I love all of it. Everybody, take everybody. Like, and that's what it's going to be when you play the Hornets and the Pelicans and the Jazz and the Nets and teams like that. You're going to be like, I gotta get more down on this. Like, you're just gonna keep betting on guys on the other team because of that. I love Wiggs in this game. Andrew Wiggins, I think he's going to do really well. We'll talk about him in player props for a minute, but I have some stats for him, and it is a solid replacement for Bam's stuff. It seems like he has the biggest sort of uptick, but Jaquez is so low, man. I don't. It feels weird how low it is. Obviously, his points have been seem tied to Norm Powell more than anybody, perhaps. Like, Norm's out, he goes off, but also it's just been like, yeah, they played like two good defenses. Those were the defenses that did well against him, because if his shot's not going in, he has to score down low, and going up against a Viga Zubac and who's on the Spurs, Victor Wembanyama, it's going to be pretty hard to score around the rim against those teams. So let me go to my boy here with an SGP. I love this dude. I love Julian Champagny. I loved him last season when he was hooping. I really liked him. I know his brother was on the Wizards. I think he was on the Wizards for a second too, but I've just loved him since he got in the league, because he's like 6'9", and he can dribble and go up and get the ball, and he can shoot threes, and he plays intelligently. He's such a wonderful Spurs player. He's like a more athletic Boris Diaw, maybe not as good of a rebounder, but like he's really good actually at rebounding. And so all this stuff is kind of low for him. He's at an 8.5 point prop, and the rebounds are super low, even though he's been getting minutes, man. Like, it's sometimes hard. It's been hard in the last couple of years to go, who's going to get minutes for the Spurs? We got this Wemby stuff going on. Then there's this guy over here, Keldon Johnson. Champagny's been playing 30 minutes a game this season, and he's only had 3 games where he hasn't played 30 minutes so far for the Spurs, and in a couple weird situations and blowouts. But like, no Dylan Harper. We know everybody else that's not around for them. I think the Jeremy Sohan's questionable, but the Keldon Johnson sort of experiment as a potential top 3 player on the Spurs has certainly fallen off. It ended last season, right? That experiment is over. This is the dude that's providing what I think they thought that somebody like Keldon Johnson might give them. Maybe not quite the sort of playmaking that Keldon Johnson was supposed to be capable of, but he's doing everything else, including the boards up, like I said, about 11. I haven't said this yet, 11 rebound chances per game in those 30 minutes that he's hitting. And last year he averaged 22 minutes, but then he had this is what drew me to him was I saw the minutes, and last year he had a stretch of like, it was like a month, almost 2 months, where he was playing 30 minutes for this team, getting like 5 to 6 rebounds a game in addition to roughly 13 to 14 points. And if you look at all the games where he played at least 26 minutes last year, I didn't even give him up to the 30 that he's at this year, just 26 plus last year. In all of those games, he's over in 13 of 19 games on the points. He's over in 14 of 19 games on the rebounds at these numbers. So love this for him at nearly 2-1.
Yeah, I like it because I expect the Rockets to play kind of dare you defense, right? That's what's worked against Wemby the last two, is just like collapse, like dare these Spurs to hit shots. I mean, so Champagny is minus 180. I see as the shortest odds for him to hit 2 threes here. And then, yeah, we're talking about a little bit more to get the points going. The rebounds should be plentiful in what looks like a black and blue game with a lot of rebound opportunities.
I think so, yeah.
Even though the Rockets grab a bunch, I mean, yeah, he's long and he's got to pinch down and get those boards for them. Yeah, especially if Wemby's getting kind of thrown around here by a ragdoll, like a ragdoll. Steven Adams goes, yeah. It seems like he's been waiting for this one. He's been out the last 2 games. All right, let's go player props. Let's go Santi Aldama, and it's a Grizzlies spot. But I don't think we want to bet the Grizzlies. They're -4 against Dallas, which is just frankly ass right now. I mean, worst offensive rating in the league. Their only win, only quality win, right? AD was absolutely lights out, and he's not walking through that door. He's doubtful, and that's going to seriously impact their defense, of course. Gafford is going to play probably going to be capped at 25 minutes. That's what we've seen. And it's the front end of a back-to-back before he gets his revenge in Washington tomorrow night. So how much is Gafford going to play? It's just going to be Dwight Powell, PJ. There's not going to be much resistance down low. So if Ja had any give a care that I could guarantee, I would be all over Memphis here, but he might literally sabotage the team. If Isolo had the guts to just bench him, then I think Memphis rolls here. So that's why I'm going with secondary guys for the Grizzlies here at home in the Cup. And Aldama is second in front court touches, right behind Ja in these last 4 since the pouting fest started. He has 23% usage. He just had 16 points off the bench against the aforementioned Rockets, who are very tough to score on down low. And I think the boards are primed for positive regression as well. If you want to take the points and add him to get 8 boards, you're looking at plus 325 there. I mean, this is a Mavs team that yields the most threes to power forwards and the 4th most points since AD went down. So this is a position where Aldama could score inside and out. He is a favorite for Isolo because he's one of those Eurobasket guys who can do that kind of versatile stuff, right? And Memphis is just starved for playmaking, for like reliable guys who can take the stress off Ja, who's just not doing anything right now. And I think Aldama will step into that void.
Yeah, and nobody's getting more than 30 minutes on this team with whatever Isla is doing. He just seems like a frustrated high school coach who's just like, well, whatever. I need to teach these boys a lesson some way, because there's just, I don't know what's going on there. But I know Santi's playing like 27 minutes. I know he's coming off the bench. It's all just it's already scripted. And then if he's going to hit some threes against a team that, I mean, it's kind of nice that AD's not around. Gafford isn't going to really want to go out there and chase him, right, when he's out there against Santi and whoever else is playing for this Mavs team. They're gross. Both these teams are gross, honestly, right now. And the vibes are so low in Memphis that maybe this is just another Dallas game more so than anything. But yeah, like you said, I wouldn't touch Memphis at all. And Santi is the only player that I think I feel comfortable with where his props are at on this team. I like Cedric Howard, but they keep making his stuff like 13.5 because people get excited about the rook and then it gets too high. So the aforementioned Andrew Wiggins, I kind of hinted at this a minute ago, that what I found for Wiggs is really simple. He goes up about 8 points per 36 minutes when Bam is not on the court. He goes up about a rebound per 36 minutes when Bam's not on the court. So all his stuff, right, like that's per 36. So like when he's playing the 32 minutes that he's playing, I expect him to have a solid handful more points and then a couple more rebounds as well. The 20 plus points too is just like anybody can score on Charlotte. We already talked about this a minute ago with your SGP. But for Wiggs, like I said, just the usage for him, I think it's a good spot to like kind of get him going. He's going to be on the floor with Davion Mitchell, Pell Larson, Norm Powell, and Kalel Ware. It's literally going to be Wiggins and Norm taking all of the shots in that starting lineup. I like assists for Davion Mitchell as a result. I think you could pair something like that with him. Haven't checked it out. I imagine it's like 7.5 since Bam's not around. But I think a lot of that stuff's going to be available for both those guys. Norm and Wiggs are going to have a ton of usage. They're going to get set up by Davion Mitchell. Then you're going to have obviously like times where Jaquez comes in and the whatnot, but I think those are going to be the guys subbing for each other. You look at him at 32 plus minutes. So this should be an easy win for him.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of like filtering for bad teams for the Heat so far. They've had such a tough schedule. Like the Hornets are the only bad team they've played already, and Wiggs did get 20 there. And I'm looking at the end of last season, he had 42 against the Hornets in one of those cupcake matchups, 22 against the Bulls, 19 in the previous one against Charlotte. So I think if you're looking for a trend, it is that he can come to play against bad teams, or I don't know where he's at mentally as far as coming to play. It's just that like, they're gonna give him.
We don't need to play pipe psychologist with him, but I think the key, what you were sort of finishing with, is that like this is an NBA Cup game. So like if they're up by 21 in the start of the fourth quarter and Wiggs is supposed to come in for his normal rotation, he's still going to come in. If he's already at 19 or 20 with a blowout already in hand, doesn't matter. Like you want to win by 30 against the Hornets and just make sure you don't have to even worry about point differential at the end of the Cup standings.
Oh, really good point. Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about it in that context with the point differential. So that makes sense. So still going under here in the game that we think is going to be black and blue, like I said, and Steph Castle, he's got the opportunity with no Fox or Harper, but that also means he gets the dogs loosed on him, and Ime is gonna be putting dudes on him. I mean, I don't know if Amen Thompson's gonna shadow him the whole game. Like Amen's gonna be like mixing in with the Wemby strategy, but it's not like there's any easy pickings here. I don't think Reed Shepherd's going to get many minutes, and that's the only person in the entire Rockets rotation you can potentially score easily on. So it's just a brutal matchup. I mean, and Castle, he's been going over on these stats recently without Fox. I mean, but 9 free throw attempts per game in his last 4 for 21 points per game. Houston's number 2 in limiting free throws. They've shored that up. They're 5th limiting point guards points. Lead guards are shooting like 35% on pull-ups against this team. You look at the point guards. Quickly, Cam Thomas, D'Lo, they all had 2 or 1 field goals made inside the arc against this Houston Rockets defense. It's like, if you can hit threes, sure, yeah, we'll let you shoot threes. But they're 4th best limiting shots in the paint. Castle is not a good 3-point shooter. He needs to get going towards the paint. He is 60% and the most drive points for the Spurs. So that's what he does. And that's not what you do in this matchup. And sure enough, I mean, his early matchups against the Rockets, he averages 5.6 points per game, had a 1.3 assist to turnover ratio, finally got there with 22 points in the last matchup. But if you look at that a little closer, 12 points in garbage time. It was a blowout from halftime. It was not competitive. And the Rockets are going to be very frothing here for their first NBA Cup game. To play some defense against these boys.
Yeah, I just think they're really good, man. I just think the Rockets are really, really, really good. And I think that they could like battle a team like OKC for most wins and stuff like that. Like I really do. If they're gonna if KD is gonna be able to sit at points in February against the Wizards and such, right? They're not gonna need him for that game. Then you'll let Reed Shepherd go. You know who's an awesome addition for this team? Josh Okogie. He's still in the NBA, by the way, and he's still bothering every guard on the other team at all times and bothering bigs down low and just being a pest overall. Like, what wonderful addition to the Rockets, where he's like, I don't have to do anything on offense if I don't want to. I'm just going to go play linebacker for Ime Udoka and the Houston Rockets. That's going to be a problem. I think he's going to be a lot on Castle a bunch. And then you have Amen free to go roam and help on Wemby. Love all of that stuff for the Rockets. And I really like what they're doing, man. Didn't know how KD was going to fit in, and he has fit in masterfully, exactly the way that they need, and alleviating pressure everywhere else because of what he can do on offense. Jamal Murray, really healthy in this game. Great. No real tags. Love that for him. They're going up against the Dubs. Little bit of a revenge thing. Didn't have quite as many points against the Dubs last time because there weren't that many to go around when Aaron Gordon dropped 50 in that game, or whatever he did in that one where he dropped like 10 threes, right? Yeah. So it was 50, right? In the first game of the season for Ego. So, and that was the OT game. We talked about that. I talked about the Nugs really handling business, and part I was scared at first. I was like, oh man, if I do believe in -10 for the Nuggets, it's tough to like get next to too many overs for starters. But I am pinpointing him in this one as a scorer who's going to be like, let me go ahead and make sure this game ends early because we've got like 43 points at the beginning of the second quarter, that kind of thing, right? And I could see that coming down for him where he's playing the 8 to 9 minutes that he's been playing in the first quarter and is taking like 5 to 6 shots in that first quarter. The usage has not, like Michael Porter Jr.'s usage has not really just pushed to Cam Johnson. And that has led to a few more shots for Jamal Murray. And he is playing well enough to get there with this one. At this point with Jamal Murray, like what I'm looking for is the spot. Is this a spot that you think they're going to need him, that he's going to come to play? And the Dubs have been giving up points to guys that are coming off the dribble. And that's been something that they've normally been good at. But this year, it's not quite the same with the up top defense. And I think that in order to like maintain their offense and attempt to like make up for Steph's offense, it's not going to be Gary Payton Jr. the second out there, right? And like Moses Moody probably will be the main matchup for Jamal Murray in this one, and that's going to probably be okay for him. Like Moses is a good defender; he's not bad by any means, but he's not ready for the Jokic Murray combo that they're now running with the usage between them. And also, Michael Porter Jr.'s shots haven't really gone to Jokic. He finally started shooting in the last couple games. I could see Jokic coming in and sort of like deciding if he needs to really score very much or if he can just sort of facilitate in this game, knowing that this other team is undermanned. You also look for the spots for Jokic. And I think after taking like 13 shots a game for like 5-6 games in a row in the last two, he was like, let me score a bunch. That's not necessarily going to need to be the case in this one. So I like Murray to take the bulk of the shots and get up to like 20.
Yeah, that's what I like the most. Is Jokic is not really looking to score this year. He doesn't have to. He did a little bit in these last couple, but I think he slips right back into just like letting everybody else eat. And Jamal is hungry, right? Jamal wants the 25. That wants to average between 20 and 25 a game. He wants to make that first All-Star team. He wants to be healthy all year. He wants to get revenge on the Warriors. And like you pointed out with the last one, NBA Cup game. So he's probably not going to want to take a seat that early in the fourth quarter if the Nuggets do cover the 10.
That's exactly right. Yep. So that is all the time we have for you guys in this one. Enjoy the NBA Cup tonight. We'll be back next week starting on Monday with these best bets and player props. So until we see you next, happy betting.